In accordance with the evil plans to make everything done on a computer as tedious and annoying as humanly possible so that no one is actually able to create, do, or research anything, the popular image hosting website Imgur is now planning a massive change that is going to eliminate a huge amount of internet history. And although that history is mostly early 2010s trash Reddit image macros, it still contains important historical record. Last month, Imgur sent out an email to its registered users, notifying them of a change to their terms of service, specifically pointing out that they'll be deleting sexually explicit content. This was obviously part of their plan, because immediately tons of articles popped up talking about this news, how Imgur is banning porn, and so on. But what they don't talk about, and what they don't want you to talk about, is that Imgur isn't deleting just the pornos. They're using that as a media cover to wipe out the vast majority of images that have been uploaded to the site in the almost 15 years of its operation. This email they sent doesn't say anything about the real situation, and neither does going to the 2 linked pages at the top. The Imgur Terms of Service, which reads like it was written by the most passive-aggressive and annoying person to ever live, which also has quite a lot of legally vague statements, says absolutely nothing about these changes. The other link is the Community Rules page, and also says nothing about deleting old images. But at the bottom of the email, where it says you can contact support, there is a link to a help article that says it all. They will be focused on removing old, unused, and inactive content that is not tied to a user account. In other words, pretty much the majority of all images ever uploaded to Imgur. Why is this bad? Well, in some ways I think it's good. It will once again teach people not to rely on these image hosting sites for important stuff. Back when I first started posting on online forums, pretty much everyone used PhotoBucket, well, at least on Gaia Online. PhotoBucket was a site you needed an account for, and as most people know today, basically no longer exists. The same goes for TinyPic. How many times have you looked through an old forum post that you need info from, only to find out the info you're looking for was in an image uploaded to TinyPic, which is now gone? And the worst offender, in my opinion, Image Shack, which not only removed images, but when their benefactors required it of them, came back from the dead and started replacing those broken links with political propaganda. What's saying Imgur isn't going to do the same, or worse? They have analytics on what sites linked to what images going all the way back. It would be trivial to target specific sites or IP ranges with whatever ads or propaganda they desire. Why do I care? Why should you care? Well, besides the loss of tons of useful info and historical internet imagery, I have 2 personal reasons. One is pretty simple. When I take a screenshot with my screenshot tool, there's a little upload to Imgur button that I use occasionally to send screenshots to people. It's right there and I never have to even go on the site, and it just copies the link to my clipboard, so, it's easy. But my second and most important reason that I care about this situation is that it is certainly going to break my fun little random Imgur drinking type game, where you do a roll and you get a set of 5 images, and you get points based on what images you get. The game is fun to play, though kind of annoying to keep track of score. Now, the good and bad thing about this game is it's designed to only load the old Imgur ID5 URLs. These are ones where the image ID only contains 5 characters, and that also means every image is usually from around 2012. The game is 100% random, but because certain images have been uploaded like 11 billion times, we often get the exact same ones, all with unique URLs. Some examples include, my favorite, VW Polo Kazandi, 3 black phones in a fan pattern, iPhone 4 with fingerprints sitting on top of another iPhone, and of course, the Monopoly Man. But besides the strange repeat images, I find tons of cool and interesting pictures, and I am sure most of these are all gonna get deleted. In fact, I had videos planned in the future, things like, I downloaded 1,000 images randomly from Imgur, and here's what I found! Stuff like that. But for now, here's just a few interesting, funny, or cool images I found from one session of playing the random Imgur game. Most of these are probably going to be gone after Monday. Yes, this Monday, after the video is uploaded, is the day that these new Imgur terms go into effect. Will they go through with it? Probably. Imgur is now owned by Media Lab AI, a company known for collecting data and buying websites. Those websites then usually become shitholes or shut down in some way. So as you can guess, this has me mildly frustrated. So I did what anyone would do. I decided to write a Python script for the first time in almost 10 years that can detect if an ID5 URL actually has an image or not. This thing doesn't even download the image. It just gets the first 10 bytes of the HTTP response, so it's stupidly fast. I've tested nearly 100,000 URLs so far, and less than half of those were valid images. However, I got rate limited pretty quickly, and I figure someone else has probably done this already, right? Maybe? Well, it turns out somebody has already downloaded the entire ID5 range, so it turns out my script in its current form is pretty worthless, but maybe someone can modify it a little bit to check the other ID ranges. Anyway, I released the script on GitHub if you want to use it, it's open source. GPL v2 for real open source. And another thing, when you look into Imgur archiving, you're inevitably going to find the constant reminder that Imgur is full of CPs. Well, in my years of doing the random Imgur game, we pretty much never encountered that at all. We even have a rule for it in the game, and it never gets used. It's kind of just there as a joke at this point. So either we're just getting lucky rolls, or what's more likely is that Imgur has software that detects that sort of thing and automatically removes those kind of images, just like every single other large website does. But I'm pretty much under the impression that the vast majority of the ID5 space has been processed already, though if someone started archiving these a long time ago, they might have images that have since been pruned. This video's less of a PSA and more of a eulogy for Imgur, a site that half the users used out of convenience, and the other half used because they were users of the worst site on the entire internet, reddit.com. And then there's the weird small portion of users who, actually browsed and commented on Imgur itself as its own social network. Did you know there was or is direct messaging between accounts on Imgur? Imgur has quite a shady history, starting with its founder, Alan Schaff, who seemingly had good intentions when he started the site, but looking at a lot of info about him, it seems he slowly became another one of these weird San Fran startup people who gets paid thousands of dollars to go do talks about nothing at events and conferences that nobody's ever heard of. If you look up info about Imgur's funding, you'll constantly hear the story about how Alan only ever invested $7 of his own money into the company to buy the domain name. Well, that, along with a lot of other things about Imgur, just doesn't add up. He paid for the domain, then who paid for the server? Imgur apparently got kicked off its host in the first month because it was using too much bandwidth. When asked how he makes money from Imgur, he claims advertising, pro subscriptions, and pixie dust are what funds the site. But mostly pixie dust. Of course, when asked what pixie dust is, the replies simply devolve into your typical, "I'm so witty, Reddit," lame joke circle jerk. Luckily, in another post, Alan provides further information saying advertising is the majority of the funding, and pro subscriptions are the rest. Pro subscriptions are interesting because the only features of a pro subscription I could find are no ads, unlimited uploading, which I didn't know was limited to begin with, and enhanced thumbnail capability, whatever that means. Were people really paying $3 a month for this? Now, I pretty much exclusively used Imgur to upload and share images for a few years, and I don't remember ever seeing an ad on the site. This means one of two things. Either I had ad block already, which is very likely, or the ads were placed and presented in a way where you wouldn't notice them as ads directly. Things like top images or stuff in the sidebar when you view a page. I did find out that Alan's university gave him a $25,000 grant in early 2010. Now, $25,000 isn't actually a lot of money, but $25K can pay for quite a decent server for quite a while. For example, with $25,000, I could completely pay for the Shy Studios website in its current form for over 100 years. This would be plenty money to keep Imgur going for a short amount of time, enough to maybe start making real money. Which by mid-2011 he certainly was, as he and his now COO, Matt Strader, moved to, you guessed it, San Francisco, the place where tech companies go to sell out. Most people suspect Imgur of mass data collection, especially now that it's owned by one of the most notoriously aggressive data collection companies. Even if Imgur never sold its data before, Like I said in the Discord of Discord video, that data exists, and once the company is sold, it can be used and abused. I don't think it's even possible for any image sharing website that has ever existed to make money, at least without using shady practices. Looking at Imgur today, and really any time in the last about 8 years, you'll see nothing but aggressive political statements and propaganda, much like the stories on Snapchat. Even if Imgur didn't succumb to the allure of venture capital money back in 2014, I think we would still be in the same situation. So pour one out for all the dead links, and spit on the grave of Imgur, a site that people only ever used because it was quick and easy. Truly, an abused and used wrench. And while Imgur fades into obscurity, carrying the untold stories of those who have uploaded images to it anonymously, make sure you slam that subscribe button, because next week, I'll be back with another video, or maybe a short. I have like a million short clips I need to upload.